You know, I'm not one normally to make excuses, but boy, yesterday should have been a 4-1 day, maybe even a 5-0 day. Instead, we only went 2-1. That's the second straight day we went 2-1. We didn't have a push for the first month or 2 months of the show, however long it had been, and now we get them 2 days in a row. But let's talk about why yesterday should have been more productive than it was. So let's look at the Phillies and the Marlins. The Phillies are controlling that whole game. They somehow go into extras. They should have it locked up. It's 2 outs. Ball hit straight to Trey Turner. He tries to do a sliding backhand grab. Doesn't even get leather on the ball. And it was a slow hit up the middle of the infield. And he commits the error. The Marlins end up scoring. We go to another inning, and then Josh Bell hits the walk. Was it Josh Bell hit the walk-off? No, it wasn't Bell. Whoever it was, somebody hit the walk-off, and the Marlins win that game completely out of nowhere. Now, let's talk about the push. We had the under in the Rockies-Phillies game of 12. The Padres are winning 4-1 going into the ninth inning. And in typical Padres fashion, those stupid frontrunners, they score 7 runs in the ninth inning for no reason at all to ultimately get a push. Final score ends 11-1. The Padres were on my no-bet list a month ago. They're about to end up back on it. They lose when they should win. They win when they should lose. They go under when they should go over. They go over when they should go under. Or they get a push when they're 7 runs away from the line going into the ninth inning. I absolutely hate them. And then what was the other one? We had the Orioles money line. Grayson Rodriguez only gave up 1 earned run in 6-something innings. And then the reliever comes in and loads the bases and then hits back-to-back batters to walk in 2 runs. And they end up losing that game 4-1. Anyway, that was yesterday's recap. You know what we're here for. We're not here for the past. We're here for the future. And the future today is pick 5, win 5. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and everyone else in between. Welcome back to my daily betting show, where it is my job to give you my 5 favorite plays in the sports betting world. As I just rambled on about pretty openly, we went 2-1 yesterday, second day in a row. You know what? The good news is that over those 2 days, despite us only being 500, we still managed to come away with a profit. We hit a run line. It was the Rangers run line for plus 140 that ended up getting us enough of a return to be able to take a profit over these last 2 days. Again, despite us not actually having a winning record. But I tell you what, we are looking to get fully back in the green, cement ourselves in the profit with these 5 picks that I have cooked up for us. We're going to start it off with the Philadelphia Phillies. Now, I think the money line and the run line both have value in this situation. I'm going to take the run line, but the money line is just about minus 120. Great value there. Would absolutely recommend that if you so choose. However, Phillies run line for me, the reason that I'm going with it is on the bump for the Phils is going to be Michael Lorenzen. He's making his Phillies debut, came over in a trade with the Tigers. He's 5-7 this season with a 3.58 ERA and a 1.10 whip. Going against Johnny Cueto, who is 0-2 with a 5.08 ERA and a .88 whip. Now, Lorenzen, like I said, he is making his Phillies debut, but when he was with the Tigers, he had a 1.14 ERA in July. The guy was locked all the way in. Cueto, on the other hand, has only made 4 appearances so far this season. He's given up 4 earned runs in 2 of them, and he's not throwing a ton of innings. It's not a lot of volume, so he hasn't been that good. It's a limited sample size, granted, but that does mean he's more likely to be bad than he is to be good. The Phillies have already won 2 of 3 games in this series. They should have absolutely won yesterday. Trey Turner, it's not enough that a guy who's supposed to be hitting 300 is hitting 235 at the plate. Now he's got to commit game-losing errors for us to lose that game. But you know what? The Phillies should be up 3-0. The Marlins, despite scoring 8 runs yesterday, are still the lowest scoring team in baseball since the All-Star break. Am I in the center of the camera? It looks like I'm not. What? I can't where? All right, there we go. The Marlins, the Marlins are still the second lowest scoring team since the All-Star break. And I've talked about enough. The Phillies, they're much more dominant on offense. I'll trust them coming out of the bullpen more. We're going to go with the Phillies run line for pick number 1. Second pick of the show, same pick as it was yesterday. Rangers run line. This one's for minus 125, not plus 140. The odds makers have smartened up a little versus the Chicago White Sox. On the mound in this one is going to be Max Scherzer. He's making his debut with the Rangers, came over in the trade from the Mets a couple of days ago. He's 9-4 with a 4.01 ERA and a 1.19 whip. Now, this is only the 3rd time in Mad Max's career he's had an ERA over 4, but still, he is one of the best pitchers, probably the second best pitcher of his generation. and he's going to look to make a solid impression in his first outing with his new ball club. He's going against Touki Toussaint of the White Sox, who's 1-3 with a 3.50 ERA and a 1.25 WHIP. The Rangers won and covered in the first two games in the series. The first game they won 2-0, which not exactly a high-powered scoring output, but it shows that they're getting better, at least in relief. The one concern for them was their bullpen. They've got Aroldis Chapman in there. He's helping to shore up some of those woes. And then yesterday they won 11-1. They were up 7-0 after 2 innings. The game was completely out of hand. I think we're looking at something similar, especially with Corey Seager back in the lineup for the Rangers. He was on the IR, but unexpectedly played yesterday and ended up hitting a home run, going 2 for 4. So that was a welcome sign. The White Sox have lost 9 of their last 11 games. They are the 4th lowest scoring team since the All-Star break. The Rangers are better at every offensive metric: batting average, OBP, slugging, OPS, home runs. We love the Rangers here, especially with this value. It's not plus money, but it's still good value, about -120, -125. Absolutely lock up Rangers run line for the second pick of the show. My third pick of the show, I'm going to go with the Houston Astros money line versus the New York Yankees. The fact that this is even value on either side of the money line blows my mind. I understand the Yankees won against the Rays who can't score. They beat them 5-2, but that was just one win in their last 4 games. Meanwhile, the Astros have won 3 straight. The Astros are also just the much better team. They're 4th in scoring since the All-Star break. The Yankees are 24th, so that clearly puts 20 spots between them. Now, on the mound in this one, it's going to be Christian Javier versus Clark Schmidt. Javier's got a 7-2 record, 4.33 ERA, and a 1.19 WHIP. He hasn't been good, and Schmidt, he's 7-6 with a 4.39 ERA and a 1.32 WHIP. He also hasn't been good. Neither one of these guys have been on fire in the last month either. In July, one of them had an ERA over 5. One of them had an ERA over 6. So there's not a whole lot to look at right there. However, the Yankees bullpen, which has been a strength for most of the season, since June 1st, it ranks just 12th in ERA. The Astros are only 4 spots behind. It's 16th. Again, not particularly amazing, but close enough to keep contact. The starting pitching, the relief pitching, it's been just about even. And then the Astros have been much, much, much better on offense. That's the main catalyst for this pick here. We're going to take the Astros. This is a pretty quick one, but we're going to take the Astros money line here against the New York Yankees. Key thing to look at, just a little bit extra data. The Yankees are hitting 228 at the plate since they got back from the intermission. The Astros are at 264. They're giving themselves way too many opportunities. I can't trust the Yankees. Lock up Astros money line for pick number 3. Fourth pick of the show, I'm going to take the Milwaukee Brewers money line versus the Pittsburgh Pirates. On the bump in this one's going to be Adrian Hauser of the Brewers. He's 3-3 with a 4.47 ERA and a 1.51 WHIP. Very bad numbers, to be fair. Going against Mitch Keller of the Pirates, who's 9-7 with a 3.97 ERA and a 1.21 WHIP. Now, Keller started off the season super hot, as did the Pirates. They were once 20-8. Looked like they were front runners in the division, but they've been awful ever since. And Keller, well, he was awful last month. He had a 6.28 ERA in July. Hauser, I know his numbers aren't good, particularly the WHIP of 151, but the simple fact is he has been about a high 3s ERA guy for a majority of the season. His season was just kind of ruined by the Atlanta Braves, because that's what the Atlanta Braves do to opposing pitchers when they see them. They jump their ERA up by half a point or maybe even a full point if they feel like it. Look, the Brewers lead this season series 5-1. They have a better batting average and on-base percentage. I know the Pirates are slugging a little bit better, but that's not saying much because both of these teams are really bad in that department, and it's unlikely we're going to get a lot of home runs in this particular game. The Brewers are also 29-24 at home, whereas the Pirates are 22-31 on the road. The Brewers bullpen probably a little bit better than the Pirates. I'm going to take the Pirates. I'm going to take the Brewers here on the money line for the 4th pick of the show. And now I just have one final pick left, but before I tell it to you guys, I will remind you, subscribe to the channel. I'm coming out with daily betting picks. We're going to have all sorts of other exciting videos coming along the way during the NFL season. You don't want to be missing out on those. I do promise you that. Final pick of the show, I'm going with the over of 9 runs in the Twins-Cardinals game. On the bump in this one is going to be Sonny Gray for the Twins, who's 4-4 with a 3.22 ERA and a 1.27 WHIP, versus Matthew Liberatore. Excuse me if I pronounce that wrong. I do pretty much every time I try to say his name. Liberatore has a 1-3 record. Why am I saying it like that? Liberatore, it sounds royal. He's 1-3 with a 6.75 ERA and a 184 whip. Yeah, you're not mishearing me. A 184. Now, Gray does have a 485 ERA, or he did have a 485 in July. The impressive thing about him is he doesn't give up home runs. I think he's still only given up 4 this entire season, but he has been allowing a fair amount of runs lately. And then our guy Liberator had a 13.05 ERA in July. Yes, 13.05. He gave up 4 earned runs in point 0.1 innings against the Marlins. The Marlins, who have scored the the fewest runs since the All-Star game. Yes, that Miami team. He gave up 4 earned runs in point 0.1 innings to the Marlins. I just repeated myself 5 times. That was the last time that we saw him, and we're not expecting things to be a whole lot different. Both of these teams are top 7 in scoring since the All-Star game. The Twins bullpen is okay, I guess. The Cardinals is downright awful. Yesterday's game hit the over. Game 1 in the series did not, but you know what? The Cardinals, they've split the over 10 out of their last 20, but the Twins have hit the over in 14 of their last 20. Also, we know the Cardinals offense is much improved compared to where it was in the first half of the season. I think there are a lot more signs telling us to go over than there are going under. So you know what? A line like 9, is it a little high than the 8.5? Obviously it is, but it's still single digits. I do think this game hits 10 plus, so we're going to take the over in that game. Final rundown. Phillies minus 1.5 versus the Marlins. That's the first pick. Then we've got the Rangers minus 1.5 versus the White Sox. Astros money line versus the Yankees. Brewers money line versus the Pirates. And Twins-Cardinals over 9. Those are the 5 picks for the Thursday episode of Pick 5, Win 5. Guys, make sure that you are subscribed to the channel. Like I said earlier, I'm coming out with betting picks every single day. Like the video if you enjoyed. Comment, let me know what your favorite picks of the day are, which mine you like, which one you don't like. And until next time, I will see you all very soon. Have a great day.